Jermaine Franklin was actually beneficial. He needed to get his toe back into the pond.
Yeah.
And look, Deontay Wilder himself has not fought a lot the last year and a half. Let's just be honest. He went right around 2 minutes and 59 seconds against Robert Helenius, and it was more than a year layoff from the third Fury fight.
Right.
So, you know, maybe they're thinking, you know what? Let's try to catch Anthony Joshua. Let's try to match him with Deontay Wilder as cold as possible. But there are just so many mixed messages. And this goes, once again, the Anthony Joshua career, unfortunately, it became a business before he became a full-form fighter. It's been highly successful. It's been very, very lucrative. But, you know, I would also argue, you know what? If you would have had him as a better, more developed fighter, it could have been more money. So if it's just about the money, I get it. But I could also argue you would have been better off in the long run with the money if you would have taken your time a little bit. I am not a big believer in fighters going twice a year with less than 20 fights, especially if they're not the guys like a Cuban fighter that have these long amateur careers, which Anthony Joshua really didn't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, because I think AJ had like 42 AMI fights.
Yes.
Not too much. And I think Wilder had about 38 or 35, 34, something like that. So, yeah, they've just both come from non-extensive amateur careers. We're going to talk about Wilder in a bit. God. God. There's more excitement outside the ring, mate. Right, that's going on. The Young and the Restless, the Bold and the Beautiful, the Locked Up starring aka Akon. They've locked up. You can't get me out. Wilder, this is just craziness. I saw your article on it as well, and I couldn't believe it when I saw that. But we're going to get onto that. So so with Jermaine Franklin, I just want you to go through the technical. What did you see with the fight? Was you impressed? Did you see any type of change? I saw the only thing I saw, the engine was better with Anthony Joshua, but I don't know if that's because Jermaine Franklin is not one of those types of people that presses the action, or maybe he's been sharpened up by going 24 rounds with an Alexander Usyk that would keep you on your toes. So even though you lose, you go into your next fight a bit better because you've been sharpened by someone that's so fast and you've had to think like a million thoughts a minute. So did you see any improvements, or did you see any regression? Or,
you know, I saw a guy that was relatively patient. Some would say hesitant. Some would see a guy that's seeing ghosts. I thought for a long time that the Klitschko fight in 2017 forever altered him. That, you know, the first time a fighter really gets hurt, they can go two ways. They can get through it and become a tougher fighter, or one that becomes more hesitant. And to me, it's been the latter with AJ. I think there's a lot of evidence for that. The Anthony Joshua loss to Andy Ruiz certainly didn't help things. But look, he needed those rounds back because he hasn't had a lot of developmental rounds. I said before the fight, that's the type of fight he needed 5-6 years ago, in between a lot of these stadium fights. I don't think it was a horrible performance, but will he ever be that crowd-pleasing guy that'll hit through guys aggressively again? I get the sense that's not going to be the case, that Anthony Joshua no longer exists, but he's going to have to be a fighter that works behind a jab and really be patient and win fights round at a time and be methodical about it. And that's what he was against Franklin. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was a terrible performance, but if you compare it to what he was right around 2017 and 18, I don't think we're seeing the same guy.
No.
Hated it.
Oh, no.
Men on film.
Remember them? That was hilarious. Shouts out to, I wish that was still back on. Was that in Living Colour? It was.
Living Colour, one of the great sketch shows of all time. Their first 3 years were incredible.
Keenan Ivory, Wayans,
Jim Carrey, young Jamie Foxx. J-Lo was one of the dancers.
Yeah,
great cast.
Yeah, that was J-Lo. Yeah, J-Lo was one of the dancers. But I always disagree when people say that they saw a change with AJ with the Klitschko fight. I saw the change when it was the first Ruiz loss. His first loss with Ruiz. That's when I've seen him. I don't think that Klitschko one that he got knocked down and he mustered his way to get a win. I didn't see any. So hang on. After Klitschko, yeah, he went on a run. So I mean, I don't think you saw. Who did he go after Klitschko? It was Klitschko, then.
Well, he fought guys like Joseph Parker.
Parker was after Klitschko, yeah. Parker,
I mean, look,
he went the distance with Parker, though, didn't he? So.
Yeah, and that was a snoozer. I mean, look, the reality is, post Klitschko, he's had more snoozers than fights that you would want to rewatch.
True.
That's the reality.
True.
That doesn't mean he hasn't been effective. That doesn't mean he's not a good boxer. But there's been a lot of fights. Even Kubrat Pulev, to the time he knocked him out, it looked a lot like Klitschko. Because the Klitschko, specifically Vladimir, during his long championship run, a lot of late round knockouts were for 9.5 rounds. You're bored to death.
We've had to admit. But I like the Klitsch. I mean, I like the Pulev fight. I liked the Pulev fight because what I've noticed with Anthony Joshua, he has to just hate you. He has to dislike you for any fire to be, all the embers to be, reignited. Because with Pulev, if you remember that the lead up to that, and that like kind of like just before the weigh-in, like the last presser, there was like a bit of animosity, and there was Anthony Joshua like put his hand on him and was like calling him a pussy and stuff. I don't know if you remember that. And Klitschko, and then even by the time they got into the ring, Klitschko was kind of antagonizing Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua had done his ring walk and got into the ring. And that's when I noticed when AJ has that spite in him, then he fights better. But you need to be able to fight with Dillian White. They couldn't stand each other. We saw that performance. With Klitschko, he went in there with a lot of respect. So that's why I think he got put on his ass, because he gets confused with, let's be friendly and I'll fight you friendly and I'll try and beat you, but being friendly, it doesn't work. It seems like, haven't you noticed that? He doesn't seem to, he has to hate you to really, I mean, he's done all the knockouts before, but it wasn't that, you couldn't see that he hated these people. With Dillian White, you could see he hated him. With Pulev, you could see he strongly disliked him. I don't know if you've noticed that. That's what
you know what, though? Your job is to fight. Just AJ. Look, when AJ hires trainers like Robert Garcia and he won't go over to his gym, that's a warning flag. I'm sorry. I told Robert. I said, Robert, you're not really training him. I told him that when he got the job. I said,
he's
Robert,
not training him. But he wasn't training him. Yeah, but I don't think that was a good matchup.
Whether it is or not, I remember when I found out that he wasn't going to Riverside, I didn't take it seriously.
I knew it. Yeah, I was like, if you're not going to the States, forget it. That was one of my things. It doesn't matter who you're going with. If they're an American trainer, which you need, in my opinion, and you're not going to go over to America, you're not going to take yourself out of your comfort zone. He's been too comfortable all of his career, meaning, it's always been, been catered for. You can train here, Team GB, this and that, everything's nice. Yeah, you got to go to the grit, mate. And every good fighter's done that. Lennox Lewis did it, Klitschko did it and went with, I'm not saying that Manuel Steward's setup was groggy, but I mean, it was in the pits. Do you know what I mean? Like, you go where the trainer's from, not vice versa. But yeah, I wasn't too happy with the Robert Garcia thing, to be honest.
Look, he did go to Derek James's training camp. My view is this. You actually want to do something long-term. Get him a fight in summer and say, Anthony, you're going back there by the end of May.
Who do we pick? Steve?
Hopefully not Dillian White, but get him a live body. Because, again, my question would be to everyone involved is this. Do you want to beat Deontay Wilder, or do you just want the payday? I'm so sick of fans and people acting like the results don't matter. It matters. I don't care about your payday. I don't get a piece of it. I'm not a shareholder here. Like when people say, well, Ryan Garcia has to be given credit because no, he doesn't. He lost the fight. he gets all the money. I don't get any of it, so I have to live off the result. That's what I give credit for. Did you win or lose? And when you give up every advantage and you fight the way you did and just capitulate, I'm sorry. I'm not going to give him the Nobel Peace Prize. So results matter. To us fans, it's the only thing that should matter because we're not getting paid a percentage. So my view is this. Again, are you trying to get to the Deontay Wilder payday, which you can do by not fighting and just making your plans for Saudi Arabia, or you can actually try to really win the fight by getting him a fight in the summer and working on things.
Right.
Still fighting to this day. To this day. To this day. You just sit here, you don't know what I'm.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think who, because Anthony Joshua has fought a lot of the guys that are still floating about. What about just chucking a Dempsey McKean that he was thinking of fighting?
Anybody. I mean, look, I know they have to be sellable, but I don't know how sellable Jermaine Franklin was. But again, Jermaine Franklin did give a good go against Dillian White.
Yeah, that was good.
Again, I don't know who you get, but again, I would surmise in a situation like this, 90% of the tickets are sold by one guy. That's Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if it almost doesn't matter if he fights, but I think the process of going through another training camp and being able to implement whatever Derek James wants is important.
This is,
because we are talking about a fighter that still seems to have some psychological scars. Technically still has to work out a few things. There's nothing like live action, though. I will never change my mind. You cannot change my mind on it. You can disagree with me. I really don't care. But if you look at Anthony Joshua the last 4 or 5 years, basically he became a once-a-year fighter. And that's even a years without the pandemic. So I don't want to hear the Eddie Hearn making excuses.
Yeah.
Okay.
He fought in the pandemic, though.
Yeah.
But even pre-pandemic, it was just once a year. I don't know how. Imagine just imagine, Steve, that you at Snack, you just wrote one article a year.
Well, it's funny, LadyChann, it's really interesting you say
We'd
that.
love that. No, I'm joking.
No matter what you do in life, if you do not practice it and sharpen
Steve,
your
Get the
tool.
joke, man. The joke flew over your head, mate. Wake up, Steve. I said, we'd love that.
You know what? So would a lot of other fans. But
no, I'm joking.
There's an actor who's gotten really famous because he did a show out here on HBO called Succession. Name is Brian Cox, and I'm sure much of your audience is very familiar with him because I guess he's from England, right? Theater actor.
I don't know who he is.
Brian Cox. He played Logan Roy on Succession. My favorite character.
I don't know what
television. They just killed him off. But Brian Cox recently did an interview where he said, "As an actor, I love all my roles. And whether I'm the star or a supporting cast or just the background." And they said, why? Because to be good at this, you have to do it. He goes, I am not an actor that believes I can do one role a year and be a good actor as I want to be in the future.
Right.
So to me, there are no big roles or small roles. There's just roles that have more lines than others. But to be good at anything you do, you have to do it.
You got to practice
consistently.
Yeah.
And I am a firm believer. I don't have a gray area in this like a lot of other people.
No,
you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're either sharpening the tool or it's getting dull.
It's getting blunt. Yeah. I'm with you as well. I just can't believe that most of these so-called high-level boxers are just fighting once a year. That's just it's not on, to be honest. So all right. So with Anthony Joshua fighting Deontay Wilder, I think we loosely touched on this. Are you going with Wilder that knocks Joshua out? Can you see both?
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the consensus.
I don't see both ways that each fighter can win. So I looked at how Wilder could, and I looked at how. Do you want to hear my little mini breakdown? My mini breakdown is that, Joshua is perfect for Wilder to land the right because Joshua likes to fight at mid-range, and that's where Wilder launches his right at mid-range, usually coming forward. So Joshua's going to have to either do the Fury tactic, back foot, collapse pocket, push back, or I wouldn't trust him to just try and You know how he boxed Andy Ruiz the second time, just to try to box on the outside, because Wilder will get you that way. So mid to long, Wilder, you give Wilder too much space, he'll come forward and find that right. You stand within that mid range, that's perfect for him. He'll land that right. Don't know if you'll get up, Joshua. Don't know if you'll even go down. Don't know if you'll sleep. Don't know if you'll snooze. I don't know. But that's as far as I see it with that side. Do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I mean, my view is in this fight, Anthony Joshua could be winning every second and then lose it in a split second. And, I remember Deontay Wilder telling a group of us reporters before the rematch with Fury. It was a second fight. I was right in front of him. He said, look, here's the difference. Other fighters against me have to be perfect for 36 minutes. I only have to be really perfect for one.
Yeah, probably one.
And so but that can get him into trouble. Here's the pathway for Anthony Joshua to win that fight. Have a long, hard jab and be consistent with it and bury your chin in that front shoulder and understand distance and spacing.
I don't know, Steve. I don't know. I can't trust him enough. And I love Anthony Joshua, but I still have to keep it a stack. Against Wilder with that, like to keep Wilder behind the jab. Don't know.
I agree. But again, you can't perfect anything if you don't do it a lot. So we're going to go right back to that. But I will say this. We don't know what version of Deontay Wilder really exists right now. That Hellenius fight, we found out nothing. The last time we really saw Wilder, he took a frightful beating against a very big man in Tyson Fury. Mm-hmm. And they matched him very carefully with the former sparring partner who got blasted out with one punch. So, again, we actually are making some assumptions that Deontay Wilder is still the guy that when he was making 10 title defenses, knocking everybody out. Yeah. But I do think this is going to be interesting with Anthony Joshua. Look, don't forget this. He can also hurt Deontay Wilder.
Oh, yeah, of course.
People keep forgetting that.
Yeah.
People keep forgetting that. The question is, will Anthony have enough wherewithal and will he be able to keep his composure inside the pocket to let hard punches go at the correct distance and spacing with intent and accuracy? Because that takes composure.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight, but it's a fight now. The great seg. You're a good segue. I just tell you that, Oh,